Thank you. And Brian, you are first, and the clock is ticking, and the floor is now yours. Brendan.
Thank you, Madam Chairman. I want to thank the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee for having this historic event. I was joking with some friends of mine that I wasn't able to speak in front of this committee as a legislator, so it's great that I finally got to do so as a private citizen, having spent many hours listening to public testimony in front of the Education and Health and Welfare Committees. I think it's great that we finally get to have the public speak to those that are making the ultimate decision with regard to the budget of their tax dollars. First, I think that we should identify that no one's excited about the position that we're in today with regards to our public education budget. I know those of you on the Joint Finance and Appropriations Committee wish that the pie that you were dealing with was larger, and I think that everyone in this room appreciates that. That being said, I think that we cannot just look at the pie for fiscal year 2012, but we also need to look at the fiscal pie for fiscal year 2025. When all the students that begin their education careers in the state of Idaho with this budget will have completed it, hopefully, successfully. Because I believe that the decisions that we make today and those that you'll make this session, they'll impact them in the future. Specifically, one of the things that I think that we should be looking at, I know that was discussed last legislative session, was providing the maximum amount of flexibility to school districts. While there was an attempt made to do that, I think that the attempt didn't reach its full potential. Unfortunately, there were several restrictions applied to school districts with regard to how they could spend their money. Specifically, they were reduced on how they could spend it towards salaries, how they could use it towards benefits for their valuable teachers. As Superintendent Luna has pointed out through the research from Dr. Marzano, it's a valuable teacher that makes the most important difference in a child's life. I would say to you today that if we do not invest in our teachers the way that they deserve to be invested in, then we will not reap the benefits of their hard work. That's why I think that it's imperative that we do not limit school districts' ability to compensate their teachers as they feel fit. And when crafting the budget, I would encourage you not to line item individual items, but that you would provide them the opportunity to spend the money freely as they choose. After all, it is their taxpayers' dollars. And if they feel that they should spend the money on their teachers, they should be able to do that. As an educator and as a parent of 4 children that will in the public education system by the year 2025, I care deeply about my children's education. I feel that if we do not have the best teachers in the state of Idaho, that I will be disservicing them, and I will ask myself, why did I stay here? We have to be competitive as a state, and as a state, we need to be able to attract the best and brightest teachers. So again, I think that we need to focus on 2 key elements. Number 1 is flexibility within the budget. We shouldn't limit what we're doing with regard to, 1 minute.
No.
We're done? Okay.
You're done.
Okay. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, Brandon. Julie. Welcome, Julie. Thank you for being with us.
Thank you. Senator Cameron, Representative Bell, and all you committee members. My name is Julie Dillahay. I'm from Meridian, Idaho. However, I am a counselor at Valley View High School. I'm here to speak about specifically one piece that has been proposed, which is raising class sizes. And when you look at the number, when you see 19.8, one would think that's not a big deal. But when you actually look at what it truly means, it means that we will lose millions of dollars of funding for students who will have teachers. And I can give you an example specifically that's related to my district. Being a counselor at Valley View High School, we experienced something we did not expect, which was huge growth. And we had classroom sizes of 45 students in a science classroom. First of all, that is a safety code. The other violation, the other piece of that was the inability for our teachers to even be able to begin to teach because they were just managing, trying to get students a place to sit. And so what you're seeing here is what our classrooms looked like this fall. If we did not have the ability to have the unit funding that we have now, we would not have been able to hire the teachers we needed. Thank God we had some that were available for a job to help our students. Saying that raising the ratio to 19.8 would affect my school district by losing somewhere between $800,000 to $1 million of revenue. That's significant when you're asking people to educate children. We can't buy teachers. We can't do anything that we need to do. And that would then put the burden on our trustees who labor a lot about raising tax levies. So essentially what would happen is that they would either have to raise levy or we would have less teachers. That would have a domino effect. If we have higher class sizes with a teacher-student ratio, when you go to the accrediting body of the Northwest for high schools, we would lose our accreditation, which would then mean high school students in our state, at least from my high school, may not be accepted to a college or university, either in our state or states outside of our great state. So I would really ask that you consider that this has got a big effect on not only our students today and our teachers, but down in the future. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you so much, Julie. Matt. Good morning.
Good morning. My name is Matt Barkley. I'm the band director at Post Falls High School. I'm also the president of the Idaho Music Educators Association. Chairman Bell and fellow committee members, I would like to thank you for making this opportunity available for the public to comment on this important budget issue. Budget cuts from last year's session have hit hard in the music community. Music department's budgets to purchase new music and repair instruments have been cut or eliminated. Performance opportunities reduced, and pay-to-play requirements have been established in many districts. Burley School District has lost their elementary orchestra program, and the St. Mary's and Madison School Districts lost their elementary general music programs. And school districts like Murtaugh, Bliss, Hanson, Richfield, Firth, and Valley have lost their music programs altogether. I am fearful to find out what will happen if we have to go through another round of cuts or if Superintendent Luna's plan is passed. In the coming weeks, you have an important decision to make. The way I see it is you have three choices. Find funds to restore the K-12 education budget with current policies intact. Cut more from the K-12 education budget, or use Superintendent Luna's plan to restore the K-12 budget, which would eliminate jobs, increase class sizes, and hinder educators' influence in what goes on in his or her classroom. I implore you to not pass the education budget with the superintendent's proposed policy changes. Instead, I ask you to restore the K-12 education budget with current policies. Educators, parents, and students do not need the superintendent's policies attached to this budget. What we need are quality teachers compensated for what they are doing, not what their students or parents are not doing. We need classrooms at a size that are manageable with students at various skill levels. Yes, most teachers can teach in a larger class with advanced students, but teachers need more than a clicker to assess where a child is at. Teachers need time to give individual instruction to make a difference with a struggling student. Teachers need to be given space so they don't worry that they will lose their job if they give the school board chair's daughter or mayor's son the grade they actually earned in a class. We need parents to get their kids to school every day with a good breakfast, check their child's homework, and take away the video games until they have solid grades.
1 minute,
Why not
sir. 1 minute, sir.
Thank you. Why not give the parents that are doing their jobs a tax incentive? Give parents a break if their kids regularly attend school, stay out of trouble, and maintain their GPA. Finally, we need all students need to take advantage of the quality public education Idaho provides them. Teachers in Idaho have been providing the tools for kids to learn for years. It's time to hold everyone accountable, not just the teachers. Then we will truly have a student-centered education system.
Thank you, Matt.
Thank you very much.
Dennis. Whoop. Good morning.
Madam Chairman, members of the committee, my name is Dennis Burt. I am from Coeur d'Alene. I am a lifetime resident of the state of Idaho, acquiring my education, that of my children within Idaho. I've operated a music business here for 37 years. I've been very concerned for many years about our state's track record of how it handles education and its funding. I've seen good, outstanding teachers and support staff continually demoralized by policies set at our state's top leadership level with little or no collaboration or input from its rank and file teachers. This current proposal being brought forward I feel is flawed to the point of guaranteed failure, and I only wish time permitted me to address all of its components. Funding. For too long, the state of Idaho has substandard and a la carte method of providing funding for education. The monies allocated at the state level are not adequate to operate the most basic levels of education in our schools. Communities are constantly required to run override and supplemental levies just to meet the most basic of educational needs. In addition to bring creative and innovative elements to the classrooms, teachers and students are forced to write grants and run fundraisers to provide those critical additions. Totaling up all the current a la carte methods of funding education, the reality is it costs X amount of dollars, total dollars for taxpayers to provide a quality educational process for our students. I would like to see education funded to a greater degree at the state level, eliminating the need for constant levies and our students having to go to the streets to sell cookie dough, wrapping paper, and candy bars just to provide a quality education. A logical, systematic, and provisional state funding system that eliminates this a la carte scenario would provide budget stability to our local districts and allow teachers to teach, students to learn by removing these time-consuming public marketing and fundraising requirements. This proposal will eliminate local teaching positions with the promise of
1 minute, please.
hopefully saving state money. You propose eliminating seniority when it comes to teacher and support staff layoffs so you can supposedly base your decisions on performance, which may sound very good up front. The reality is districts could end up eliminating long-term teachers, quality long-term teachers that are further up the pay scale simply to retain a cheaper new hire employee for the district. There are fundamental problems with every area of this proposal that need addressed. Time does not permit. Without collaborating with states, teachers, and support staff, you have introduced the elements of this plan that will most assuredly alienate them, seemingly without you understanding that they are the very vehicle that delivers the educational products to our students. Is some type of reform needed? Absolutely. But go back to the drawing boards with all key parties represented. This current proposal is not the answer, and please start funding education adequately. It produces Idaho's greatest commodity.
Thank you. Brian.
Thank you, Representative Bell, Senator Cameron, and the rest of the committee. My name is Brian Smith. I'm a government teacher from Sandpoint. I'm also a parent of 3 children that will be in this school system, and that's why I'm here. I want to talk about 2 components of Superintendent Luna's proposal. The first one, which it requires layoff of teachers and other personnel within staff. I think it's important that we note the difference between statistical averages and practical application of that plan. When Superintendent Luna speaks, he mentions an increase of 1 to 2 students. I'll give you an example from my particular school district. If we were to eliminate a 5th grade teacher, if we were able to distribute those students across all 5th grades, it would be about 2 more students per class. Unfortunately, because of geography, that is not possible. We have 7 schools. You cannot just ship those students into another building. They're miles and miles apart. So as a result of that, and even if you could, it wouldn't be a benefit to the parents. It wouldn't be a benefit to those children who have siblings in the other schools. And so as a result of that, when you eliminate a 5th grade in a particular building, where do you shuffle those kids? To the only other 5th grades that are left in that building. Many of our buildings have only 1. Some have 2, 1 has 3. And in our building that has 3, if you're talking about eliminating 1 teacher, those, say, 26 students, well, now 13 go to teacher X and 13 go to teacher Y. That results in class sizes of upper 30s and 40s. And that's practical application. That's what school districts will have to deal with if we change that divisor. I think that's very important to note, as opposed to the statistical average of an increase in 2. I think that's very deceptive. True, but deceptive of what will really happen. The second part I want to talk about is the component of protection. I would argue that this is an important component for students that does put students first. What I'm referring to is the 99% ADA protection, which says that a school district who is budgeting in the spring knows that they will have at least 99% of the fall enrollment of the previous fall enrollment that next fall. That allows them to budget. That allows them to budget and prepare. Okay? Without that, they would have to have significant layoffs in advance just in case. That's not good for students, to make those layoffs in the spring for what could happen in the fall. Superintendent Luna's proposal makes an exception to that and says, no, we'll be able to lay off those people in the fall. I'd argue that's even worse for students. To be in front of Mrs. Smith and to say 2 or 3 weeks, a month into it, I'm sorry, but Mrs. Smith is no longer going to be here. You need to shift. That's not good for kids. An art program, you're in an art class right now, but that art class no longer exists. We have to shuffle you to a new elective. You're 3 weeks behind. You're 4 weeks behind. That's not good for kids. That 99% protection is key to creating some stability for kids in the programs and services that are offered. I want to thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. Karen.